that's big. I gotta wrap it up. But that's a lot of issues going on.
My name is Roberto Mendoza. I'm Native American Chicano. Portland is where I live. I've been working with the People's Free Space for probably about since last fall. Portland is, a little background, Portland is the largest city in Maine. Maine itself, I think people probably realize it's like 98% white and has been for like 300 years or longer. And recently it started to change. There's a lot of rapid change coming. A lot of Latinos are moving up from Boston, the Boston area, Brazilians and Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and some Mexicans too, working in blueberry fields and factories. And a large contingent of Somalians and people from Sudan, refugees, and other refugees from other parts of the world. So it's changing pretty rapidly, and the schools are changing the fastest. So we're coming into this new mix, and the People's Free Space started out kind of an anarchist group, young whites, all the staff members are white. I think I was one of the first people of color that really started getting involved. And even the name People's Free Space kind of bugged me because it sounded kind of, oh, you can go in there and you do anything you want. You can get free bread. You can watch videos. You can surf the net. You know, and where's the responsibility? You know. So I'm kind of educating that community of the people that run that are mostly young whites, and I'm telling them, you know, you got to get the community involved. And the people that are coming in here, a lot of them are African immigrant young people. And the parents aren't there, so they're surfing the net and they're watching gangster videos and, you know, sexist crap. So I was saying that let's change the direction of the People's Free Space. Let's change the name, get rid of People's Free Space, and talk about a project-oriented space where if people come in there, they're going to be involved in a project. They're not just going to hang out, you know. And we get away from this freedom thing, this free stuff, because from a Native American perspective, you can't have freedom without responsibility. You got to have some kind of reciprocity. You know, that's a word I introduced to the community, the reciprocity. If you take something from this group, you got to give something back. You know, because that's the way the world should work. And when you just talk about freedom, you know, basically you're duplicating what a lot of other free services are already doing, like free food. Like we have a Preble Street Resource Center that has free food. And we're, you know, you don't want to just repeat on a small scale what they're doing. We want to do something more empowering, something more that will change on a deeper level. So I'm kind of like the elder, because most of them are young, you know, and some of them are in their 30s and 40s, but, you know, I'm 63. I'm from the 60 generation. So I'm the old guy, you know, and I sort of tell them about mistakes we made. Let's don't keep repeating these mistakes. You know, let's don't keep reinventing the wheel. Let's make that connection between the elders and the young people, you know, and people of color and the white people that are in the city. So now we just got started with a video project, and it's a good thing because we got to start working with a young African immigrant woman from Ethiopia who's doing video on African immigrant kids in high schools and the people that she works with. And because we were having some problems, some of the young Africans were, that this one 12-year-old guy, he was taking advantage of the fact that it was a free space. He thought, well, free space means I can do what the hell I want. You can't kick me out. And he was very, you know, violent in many ways to other people, very disrespectful. And the people didn't quite know how to deal with it. And what I really was saying to people was, you know, you've got to get the parents of these young African immigrants involved in some way. They have to know what their kids are doing here. And we can't be just like a place that just is like a daycare center. You know, we have to somehow reach out to get the parents involved in working with their kids, because their kids are coming there. You know, 2 minutes? Okay. And I wanted to respond to the presentation. You know, I think there's a new concept that is, fairly new concept that's coming out, but a lot of people still haven't heard about it, which is really important in understanding this whole thing about oppression. And that is internalized oppression. You know, because the system cannot really work without it. In fact, it depends on it. It's like the British, with a few thousand soldiers and colonial officials, were able to rule over 100 million Indians. How do they do it? Internalized oppression. And how does it work? Especially in this country, it works through the media primarily. Now that we get these messages from the media about ourselves that are negative, and we internalize them. And that a perfect example is like gangster rap. Because the message is that you're nothing but gangsters, you're nothing but criminals, you know, and the women that you deal with are all hoes. And, you know, you internalize that, and then, you know, you spew it back out, and the cycle keeps going. So we need to break out of it. That the system cannot survive unless we cooperate with it, unless we internalize those messages. If we understand that's how it works, and we stop internalizing those messages, we'll have a revolution right away. Because that's what it depends on, is us taking this information and policing ourselves, basically. Oppressing ourselves. And oppressing people below us. Men oppressing women, adults oppressing children. You know, everybody else oppressing the earth. That internalized oppression concept needs to be out there a lot clearer, because that's the key to us really liberating ourselves. And this is what we're working with in the media, because that's where a lot of that internalized oppression, those negative messages about ourselves come from. So we need to understand that.